You stared at your reflection in the mirror. Was this too short? Too sexy? The little black dress hugged your curves in all the right places, but was it too much? You smoothed your hands over the fabric, trying to calm the butterflies in your stomach. This was just drinks with a client. Nothing more. So why did it feel like so much more? Your phone buzzed on the dresser, Mai's name flashing across the screen. You snatched it up. Your savior. Hey, what's up? You answered, wedging the phone between your ear and shoulder as you rummaged through your jewelry box. Just checking in on my favorite workaholic, Mai chirped. Please tell me you're not still at the office. Shit. You'd forgotten to tell her. No, actually. I'm getting ready to go out. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Then, I'm sorry, what? Did I hear that right? You, going out on a Friday night? Geez, don't sound so shocked, you grumbled, fishing out a pair of silver earrings. I do have a social life, you know. Uh-huh. Sure you do, Mai teased. So, who's the lucky guy? Come on, spill. Should you tell her? What kind of question was that? She was your best friend, practically your sister. You bit your lip, your fingers fumbling with the earring clasp. It's not like that. It's just drinks with a client. A client? On a Friday night? Yeah, right. Who is it? You sighed, knowing Mai wouldn't let this go. It's Dynamite, okay? We are all finished with the gauntlets, and he suggested we go out to celebrate. That's all. The squeal that erupted from your phone nearly deafened you. Oh my god, you're going on a date with Dynamite? The number 2 hero? Holy shit. It's not a date, it's just a professional courtesy. Nothing more. Uh-huh, sure. That's why you're getting all dolled up, right? For a professional courtesy? Yes. Right? I'm not. I just wanted to look nice. That's all. Oh please, Mai laughed. You once wore sweatpants to a client meeting because, and I quote, if they care more about my pants than my tech, they're not worth my time. Face it, love, you've got it bad for this explosive hero. Your cheeks burned. I do not, you protested weakly, knowing Mai could see straight through your bullshit. Love, Mai's voice softened. It's okay to admit you like him. I've heard the way you talk about him. This isn't just about work for you, is it? Your throat tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, this is me you're talking to. You can be honest. You sank onto the edge of your bed. It doesn't matter how I feel. He's a client. One of the top heroes in the country. Nothing could ever happen between us. But you do feel something, don't you? You closed your eyes. The truth was you did feel something for Dynamite. Something that made your heart race, palms sweat, and melted your brain into a puddle. Something that scared you more than any villain ever could. I think I do, you whispered. God, Mai, what am I going to do? He's so infuriating and arrogant and completely irresistible? Mai finished, a smile in her voice. You groaned, flopping back onto your bed. I'm so screwed. Saying it out loud felt like lifting a weight off your chest. You'd been denying your feelings for so long, burying them under layers of professionalism and sarcasm. But now that the truth was out, you couldn't take it back. Oh love, Mai cooed. I knew it. The way you light up when you talk about him, even when you're complaining about what an ass he is. It's obvious to anyone with eyes. Is it really that obvious? Only to those of us who know you. But hey, that's a good thing. It means you've got a shot with him. What? No, I don't, you protested, sitting up. He's Dynamite. And I'm just me. Exactly, Mai said firmly. You're you. And from what you've told me, he seems pretty into just you. Why else would he keep coming around, picking fights, getting in your space? You closed your eyes, remembering the heat of Dynamite's body pressed against yours. The way he'd caged you against the desk, his muscular arms on either side of you. You pressed your legs together as you recalled the hunger in his crimson eyes, like he wanted to devour you whole. God, you'd wanted him to. Your skin tingled at the memory of his breath on your neck, his gravelly voice in your ear. You shouldn't want this. He was a client, for fuck's sake. But you couldn't deny how much you craved his touch, his taste, his everything. There might have been a moment or something, you admitted. I knew it. Spill. Every single detail. If you told her what happened, this would be it, no going back. But the floodgates had already opened, and the words tumbled out before you could stop them. He called me good girl. You confessed, your voice trembling. And sweetheart. Mai's sharp intake of breath crackled through the phone. Holy shit, she breathed. Wow. That's not nothing, honey. I know. And that's not even the half of it. There's more. Mai's voice rose higher. Don't you dare hold out on me now. He touched my cheek. You murmured, bringing your fingers to your skin, so gently, like I was something precious. And then his hand was on my hip, and he was pressing into me, and don't stop now, woman. And he looked so comfortable. You finished lamely, unable to find the right words to describe the way Dynamite had melted against you, like he belonged there. Like he didn't want to be anywhere else. Oh my god. That's kind of cute. Did he kiss you? No, but I thought he was going to. He was so close, Mai. I could feel his breath on my lips. I wanted dash, you cut yourself off, embarrassed by the neediness, the desperation in your voice. You wanted him to. My finished for you. It's okay to admit it, you know. You're allowed to want things. You let out a shaky breath. I know. It's dynamite, you know. He's so far out of my league it's not even funny. Bullshit, I said firmly. You're amazing, and if he can't see that, he's an idiot. But from what you've told me, it sounds like he sees it just fine. But it can't. I mean, we can't. Why not? I challenged. Because he's a hero? Because he's your client? Life's too short to let technicalities get in the way of something that could be amazing. I've never met the guy, but from what you've told me, Dynamite doesn't do anything he doesn't want to do. If he's asking you out for drinks, it's because he wants to spend time with you. Simple as that. You sighed, running a hand through your hair. Your mind drifted back to Dynamite's behavior, replaying every interaction in vivid detail. The way his eyes had lingered on you, his smirk when you'd fired back one of your sarcastic quips. The casual touches that sent electricity coursing through your body. Oh God, you groaned, realization dawning. He was flirting with me, wasn't he? Mai's triumphant laugh rang through the phone. Finally, she gets it. You buried your face in your pillow, muffling a frustrated scream. How had you been so blind? All those heated arguments, the way he'd invade your personal space, the pet names. It wasn't just Dynamite being an ass. He'd been flirting with you this whole time. But even as your heart raced at the thought, your practical side kicked in. It doesn't matter, you insisted, sitting up. He's still my client. I can't dash. You froze mid-sentence, a new realization hitting you like a ton of bricks. Wait, he's not my client anymore, is he? The project's finished. The gauntlets are done. Exactly. My crowed. Which means all those pesky professional boundaries. They don't apply anymore, honey. Your mind reeled, possibilities you'd never allowed yourself to consider suddenly flooding in. Dynamite wasn't off limits anymore. He was just a man, an infuriating, explosive, ridiculously attractive man, asking you out for drinks. Oh shit, you whispered. What am I going to do? Now you're going to put on that sexy dress, do your makeup, and knock his socks off. And then you're going to call me tomorrow and tell me all about it, okay? A smile tugged at your lips despite the fact you were shitting bricks. Okay, you agreed. Thanks, Mai. I don't know what I'd do without you. Probably die alone surrounded by cats. You laughed, some of the tension easing from your shoulders as you described your outfit. As you hung up the phone and turned back to the mirror, you saw yourself with new eyes. This wasn't just drinks with a client anymore. This was a date. With Dynamite. With Japan's #2 hero. Holy shit. Your hands shook slightly as you applied a final coat of lipstick. What if Mai was wrong? What if this really was just a professional courtesy to Dynamite? What if you were imagining the whole thing and it was just in your head? The thought made your stomach churn. But then you remembered the heat in his eyes earlier, the way his touch had you wanting everything. That hadn't felt like just business. God, you were a true idiot. He had offered whatever that had been, and you like a dumbass turned it down. The doorbell rang. He was here. Early, of course, because punctuality was probably programmed into his DNA or something. The doorbell rang again, more insistently this time. Shit. You took one last glance in the mirror, smoothing down your dress and tucking a stray strand of hair behind your ear. This was it. No turning back now. You padded to the door. Your hand hovered over the doorknob for a moment before you steeled yourself and pulled it open. And there he was. Dynamite stood in your doorway, looking so different from his usual hero attire that for a moment, you forgot how to breathe. Gone was the skin-tight costume and heavy gauntlets. Instead, he wore dark jeans that hugged his muscular thighs and a fitted black t-shirt. His spiky blonde hair was as wild as ever, but somehow softer without the weight of his mask. He looked normal. Human. Devastatingly handsome. Shit. Your eyes traveled up his body, taking in every detail. The way his biceps strained against the sleeves of his shirt. The hint of collarbone peeking out from the V-neck. The sharp line of his jaw, softened slightly by the hint of stubble. When your gaze finally met his, you found him smirking at you, one eyebrow raised in amusement. Enjoying the view, nerd? He drawled, leaning against the doorframe like he had done this a million times. Heat flooded your cheeks. Caught red-handed. You look different, you stammered, mentally kicking yourself for sounding so flustered. Good different. I mean, not that you don't always look good. I just fuck. Dynamite's smirk widened into a full-blown grin. Careful there, nerd. Better close that mouth before you catch flies. Of course he couldn't just take the compliment. Please, don't let it go to your head. I was just surprised to see you in actual clothes instead of spandex. Oi, it's not spandex, it's a high-tech flame-resistant. He cut himself off. You know what? Doesn't matter. You gonna invite me in or what? That was an excellent question. Were you? Having Dynamite in your apartment felt intimate. Dangerous. Like crossing a line you couldn't uncross. But then again, hadn't you already crossed that line? The moment you agreed to drinks knowing he didn't give a rat's ass about professionalism, you pushed that line. Yeah, come in, you said, stepping aside to let him pass. I just need to grab my purse and we can go. As Dynamite brushed past you, his arm grazed yours and you leaned forward. You inhaled sharply, catching a whiff of his cologne, something spicy and warm that made your head spin. You closed the door behind him. Your already small apartment seemed to shrink. It felt like the walls were closing in. You licked your lips. Nice place, Dynamite commented, his eyes roaming over your living room. Bit messy though. What's with all the tech shit everywhere? Your eyes flitted from the soldering iron still cooling on the workbench to the half-assembled drone perched precariously atop a stack of technical manuals. You fumbled to sweep a handful of resistors and capacitors into a nearby drawer, wincing at the clatter. You'd been so distracted with your not date that turned out to be a date that you had forgotten to clean up / Oh, I like to tinker in my free time. You know, personal projects and stuff. Dynamite picked up a half-finished device from your coffee table, turning it over in his hands. What's this one do? It's a prototype for a new comm system, you explained, moving closer to take it from him. I'm trying to improve the range and clarity for hero agencies. You tried to snatch the device, but your fingers brushed against his. Time slowed. Your fingertips grazed his knuckle, rough, warm. You jerked your hand back like you'd been burned. Dynamite's crimson eyes bore into yours. You never stop working, do you? Your throat constricted. If you raised your hand, you could touch the stubble on his jaw, trace the faint scar above his eyebrow. His chest rose and fell, mere inches from yours. I like what I do, you managed to say. Yeah, he said, his eyes roaming over your face. I can tell. If you just leaned in a little closer, you could kiss him, finally taste him, finally know if he really tasted as sweet as he smelled. You took a step back, clearing your throat. I should, go get my purse. Then we can head out. Dynamite's expression flickered for a moment. Disappointment? Frustration? Before settling back into his usual cocky smirk. Yeah, sure. Don't keep me waiting too long, nerd. You retreated to your bedroom, closing the door behind you and leaning against it. Your heart was racing. How were you supposed to make it through an entire evening with him when just being in the same room made you feel like you were about to combust? You took a deep breath, trying to calm your nerves. It's just drinks, you reminded yourself. Nothing more. You could handle this. Heck, you weren't even sure if this was a date. After a moment, you grabbed your purse and checked your reflection one last time. You could do this. You were a strong, independent woman, damn it. You weren't going to let some cocky hero with ridiculous biceps and a smirk that made your knees weak get under your skin. When you emerged from your bedroom, you found Dynamite leaning against the wall, his arms crossed over his chest. His eyes raked over you, lingering on the way your dress hugged your curves. You clean up nice, he complimented you. At least you thought it was a compliment. You blushed. Thanks, you mumbled, suddenly feeling shy. You too. I mean, you always look good, but, yeah. God, stop talking. Dynamite's smirk widened. Always, huh? Even in my spandex? Don't push it, Dynamite. His mouth twisted into a grimace. Oi, none of that shit tonight. We're off the clock, remember? Call me by my name. Your name? Funny, I don't recall you ever introducing yourself properly. Or did I miss that between all the yelling and explosions? He glared at you. TCH. You're really gonna play that game, nerd? Like you don't fucking know who I am. I'm just saying Dynamite, you purred, enjoying the way his jaw clenched. For all I know, your name could be Explosion Boy. He invaded your bubble. Each inhale brought a hint of his cologne. Your treacherous body swayed imperceptibly towards him. Real fucking cute. You know damn well what my name is. Do I? Maybe I need a formal introduction. You know, like normal people do when they meet someone new. You fought back a smirk. There was no way he was actually going to introduce himself, right? He growled, running a hand through his spiky hair. Fine, you want an introduction? I'm Katsuki Bakugo, the #2 hero in Japan, and you're a pain in my ass. You laughed, the sound echoing in your small apartment. Nice to meet you, Katsuki Bakugo. For a moment, you considered calling him Katsuki, but that felt too intimate, too personal, though that mostly had to do with you and your active, filthy imagination. You imagined how it would feel on your tongue, whispered in the dark or moaned in ecstasy as he pounded into you. No, that was steering into dangerous territory. All right, Bakugo, you said, testing out his last name. It felt right, a middle ground between the formality of Dynamite and the intimacy of Katsuki. Shall we get going? I believe you promised me a drink. Bakugo's lips quirked up in a half-smile. About damn time. Let's go, nerd. *****. You followed Bakugo into the bar, the cool night air giving way to a warm, bustling atmosphere. The moment you stepped inside, a wave of curious glances washed over you, making your skin prickle. It wasn't the usual anonymous crowd you were used to. This place thrummed with a different energy. And then it hit you. These weren't just random faces. They were the faces. You recognized them from billboard ads, flashing smiles and dynamic poses frozen in glossy perfection. That's when it hit you. Everyone here was a hero. Shit. Shit. You wanted to puke. Your little black dress, perfect for a night out, now felt like a flashing neon sign screaming groupie. You might as well have been wearing a shirt that said free fucks for 5 minutes of fame. You blushed noticing not a single person was dressed like you. Heroes in casual wear, some still in parts of their costumes, filled the bar. Bakuga smirked, catching sight of your flushed face. What's the matter, nerd? You look like you've seen a ghost. You shot him a glare. Oh, I don't know, maybe because you didn't mention we were going to a hero bar? I stick out like a sore thumb in this dress. He snorted, his eyes trailing over your outfit in a way that made your heart skip a beat. Yeah, you do. Didn't know you owned anything that wasn't covered in grease or nerd shit. Excuse me for thinking we were going to a normal bar like normal people. You hissed, crossing your arms over your chest. I wouldn't have worn this if I knew I'd be surrounded by heroes in their off-duty wear. Bakuga's grin widened. What, you got a problem with heroes, nerd? Thought you'd be thrilled to be surrounded by your clientele. You rolled your eyes, following him as he started to weave through the crowd. My problem isn't with heroes, it's with looking like I'm trying to pick one up. There's a difference between professional relationships and whatever this looks like. TCH, like anyone here would think you're trying to pick them up. Oh, and why's that? Am I not attractive enough to be a groupie? You could be a groupie if you wanted to. Bakuga's steps faltered for a moment, and he glanced back at you. That's not fuck, you know what I mean. You're too. You to be a groupie. Wow, what a compliment. I'm truly flattered. Shut up, nerd. You know what I meant. No, actually you didn't know what he meant. You continued to follow him through the bar. Still annoyed he didn't think you could be a groupie. Did he think you were so nerdy and unattractive that you couldn't pull a hero? So enlighten me, oh great dynamite. Why exactly did you bring me to a hero bar? Maybe I just wanted to see how you'd handle being out of your comfort zone. Gotta say, you're doing a shit job of it so far. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was some sort of test. Should I be taking notes? Maybe I should start asking for autographs to really sell the groupie look. He laughed. I'd pay good money to see that, nerd. But nah, I just figured you could use a night out. Even tech geeks need to socialize sometimes, right? The admission, as backhanded as it was, made you pause. Was this Bakuga's weird way of being nice? Before you could dwell on it too much, he grabbed your wrist, pulling you towards a table in the corner. Come on, let's get a drink. Maybe some alcohol will loosen up that stick up your ass. You slid into the booth, the leather seat cool against your bare thighs. Shit, your dress was not made to sit. You tugged at the hem, trying to maintain any modesty. One wrong move, and you'll be giving the entire bar a free show. Maybe then he would think you could be a groupie. You expected Bakuga to take the seat across from you, but he didn't. Instead, he slid in right next to you, his muscular thigh pressing against yours. You squeezed your knees together. He was so close. Too close. He was warm, and you could smell the intoxicating mix of his cologne and burnt sugar. Your skin tingled where you were touching, like there was an electric current running between you. You tried to shift away, run away, to put some space between your bodies, but there was nowhere to go. The booth suddenly felt impossibly small, trapping you next to him. You smoothed down your hands on your legs, aware of every point of contact, thigh to thigh, hip to hip, shoulder to bicep. Bakuga didn't seem to notice how close you were. Or maybe he did, and he was enjoying watching you squirm. And then he did it, your undoing. He leaned back, casually draping his arm along the back of the booth. His fingertips brushed against your bare shoulder, and your back stiffened. Shit, did he have to do that? You couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. All you could focus on was the feeling of his body pressed against yours, the way his fingers almost touched you. It was torture. You tried to steady your breathing as Bakuga's fingers continued to barely graze your shoulder. The touch was so light, so casual, so accidental, but he might as well been fondling your chest, because your needy body couldn't tell the difference. You shifted, leaning into it. Oi, waitress! Bakuga's voice boomed. A young woman with vibrant purple hair approached your table. She smiled at Bakuga. The waitress's eyes flicked over you dismissively before focusing on Bakuga again. A small, petty part of you felt vindicated. See, even she thought you could be a groupie. What can I get for you, sir? She all but gushed out, batting her eyelashes. Bakuga's fingers tapped against your shoulder as he thought. The rhythmic motion was maddening. You bit your lip and clenched your legs, trying to focus on anything but the feeling of his skin on yours, or the way your body was going absolutely crazy. I'll have a whiskey neat, he ordered, then turned to you. What about you, nerd? Don't tell me you're a lightweight. Please. I'll have a Long Island iced tea. Thank you. Trying to get wasted already? Can't handle being around so many heroes. Oh, I can handle it just fine. You shot back, ignoring the way your panties were growing moist. I just figure if I have to spend the evening with you, I might as well enjoy myself. The waitress looked between you two. She gave you a once-over again. I'll be right back with your drinks. You sat there in torturous silence waiting for your drinks. Try as you might, you just couldn't get your brain to work. All you and your body could think of was the feeling of Bakuga's fingertips occasionally touching you. After an eternity, the waitress returned with your drinks, placing them on the table with a fake smile. You eagerly reached for your Long Island iced tea, grateful for something to occupy your hands and distract you from Bakuga's teasing touches. You took a swig and then 3 more. By the 4th one, you started to relax. The alcohol burned pleasantly as it went down, warming you from the inside out. Bakuga knocked back half his whiskey in one go, his throat bobbing as he swallowed. You tried not to stare. So, you said, desperate to break the silence. Come here often? Can I be more lame? Bakuga snorted. What kind of lame-ass pickup line is that? It's not a pickup line. I'm trying to make conversation. TCH. Yeah, I come here sometimes. It's one of the few places I can drink without civilians bothering me for autographs. You rolled your eyes. Oh, poor you. It must be so hard being a famous hero. Fuck off. You try dealing with people screaming your name and shoving cameras in your face every time you leave your house. Sounds terrible. I can't imagine how you cope. Bakuga's lips twitched, almost like he was fighting back a smile. You're such a brat, you know that? Takes one to know one. You shot back, grinning. As you continued to drink and banter, you felt yourself relaxing more and more. The initial awkwardness melted away. After you downed half your drink, you were feeling stupidly brave. His hand hadn't moved, and you thought it was time to get some payback. You know, you said, feeling bold. I always thought Shoto was the hottest pro-hero. Those heterochromia eyes? To die for. Bakuga's face darkened, his grip on his glass tightening. Half and half? Are you fucking kidding me? You bit back a laugh at his reaction. Was he jealous? What? He's objectively attractive. Plus, that whole stoic, mysterious thing he's got going on? Very sexy. Bullshit, Bakuga snarled. He's about as mysterious as a fucking cardboard box. And his personality's just as flat. You couldn't hold back your laughter anymore. Oh my god, you're actually jealous. This is priceless. I'm not jealous, he snapped. I just think you have shit taste in heroes. Oh yeah, and who would you suggest instead? Endeavor. Bakuga's face twisted in disgust. Fuck no. If you want a real hero, you should be looking at All Might. He was the greatest hero of all time. No one else even comes close to Dash. He cut himself off, realizing what he'd just said. Your eyes widened. Holy shit. Are you an All Might fanboy? Shut the fuck up, he growled, a faint blush creeping up his neck. You are. Oh, this is too good. The Great Dynamite, secret All Might stan. I bet you have a shrine to him in your bedroom. I will fucking end you, he threatened. You grinned, leaning in closer. What are you gonna do, blow me up? I'm sure that'd look great in the headlines. Number 2 hero explodes civilian for discovering his embarrassing secret. To your surprise, Bakuga's lips curved into a wicked smirk. Nah, I've got better ways to shut you up. Want me to demonstrate? His eyes locked onto your lips and he leaned in closer. No way. There was no way this was happening, right? Was he about to kiss you? Your eyes dropped to Bakuga's lips, full and slightly parted. Heat flooded your body as you imagined how they would feel against yours, how he would taste. Your tongue darted out to wet your suddenly dry lips. Bakuga's grin widened, predatory. He leaned in closer, his breath hot against your ear. Your heart pounded, anticipation coiling low in your belly. This was it. He was finally going to kiss you. But that wouldn't be very professional, would it? He murmured, his voice low and husky. And you're all about keeping things strictly business, aren't you, nerd? He pulled away, leaving you flushed and flustered. Anger and embarrassment warred within you. He was teasing you. And worse of all, you fell for it. Maybe this wasn't a date. You straightened your back, willing the blush from your cheeks to die down. That's right, you announced. This is just business. Nothing more. The words tasted like ash in your mouth. You wanted to take them back, to grab him by the collar and show him just how unprofessional you could be. But fuck that. He was playing with you. Bakuga scoffed, turning back to his drink. Whatever you say, nerd. You took a long sip of your drink, trying to cool the fire that burned beneath your skin. This was torture. And the worst part? You were doing this to yourself. Even after he just embarrassed you, you still wanted more. Sitting so close to him, feeling the heat of his body, smelling his intoxicating scent, it was driving you mad. You wanted to climb into his lap, to run your hands through his wild hair, to feel his strong hands on your body. You sipped your Long Island iced tea, trying to ignore the tension radiating from Bakuga beside you. That's when you noticed 2 familiar figures approaching your table, Red Riot and Pinky. Hey Bakuga. Red Riot greeted with a friendly wave. Didn't expect to see you here tonight. Bakuga grunted in response, his arms still casually draped behind you on the booth. You felt your cheeks flush as Red Riot's gaze landed on you curiously. Who's your friend? Red Riot asked. Before you could respond, Bakuga scoffed loudly. She's not my friend. You shot him an annoyed glance before turning back to Red Riot with an eager smile. Actually, I'm a huge fan of yours. Your hardening quirk is so cool, and the way you use it in combat is just incredible. Red Riot beamed at the praise while Bakuga let out an irritated huff beside you. Pinky giggled, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she took in the scene. Well, aren't you just the sweetest? She exclaimed, sliding into the booth across from you. I'm Pinky, but you can call me Mina. She extended her hand, and you shook it, trying not to stare too much at her vibrant pink skin and hair. Up close, her appearance was even more striking. It's so nice to meet you both, you gushed. I've followed your careers for years. Pinky's grin widened. Ah, you're making me blush. So, are you two out on a date or something? Great question. For you it had been a date, at least when you left your apartment. Now? Well, now you weren't so sure. You waited for Bakugo to say something, anything, so when he didn't you spoke up. What? No, it's not like that at all. You rushed to explain, your words tumbling over each other. We're just out celebrating the completion of a new set of gauntlets I designed for Dynamite. Strictly business. Bakugo scoffed again, louder this time, as he drained the last of his whiskey. You frowned at his reaction. What was his problem? Pinky didn't seem convinced, her eyes dancing with amusement as she glanced between you and Bakugo. If you say so, sweetie. But you two seem pretty cozy over there. You blushed and opened your mouth to protest, but Pinky barreled on before you could get a word out. So, how did you end up working with our resident hothead here? She asked, nodding at Bakugo. I'm dying to know all the details. You fidgeted under her eager gaze. You could feel Bakugo's intense stare boring into you. Red Riot leaned back in the booth, watching the exchange with open curiosity. Well, my company was hired to design new support gear for Dynamite. You began, your voice coming out higher than you intended. I'm the lead technician on the project, so I've been working closely with him to ensure the gauntlets meet his specifications. Pinky's grin was positively wicked. I'll bet you have. Bakugo can be pretty demanding when it comes to his gear. You flushed deeper at her suggestive tone, shooting Bakugo a sidelong glance. He was glaring at Pinky, his jaw clenched tight. Red Riot simply stood back grinning, his sharp teeth glistening under the bar's lights. So, how long have you been working together? Pinky pressed. She brought her hands to her chin, waiting, though it felt more like she was fishing. You took a fortifying sip of your drink before answering. A few months now. It's been challenging at times, but I think we've finally got the gear dialed in perfectly. I'll say, Pinky purred. If the way you two are eye-fucking each other is any indication, I'd say the chemistry is off the charts. You gasped and you choked on your drink. Bakugo slammed his fist on the table, making the glasses rattle. That's enough, Raccoon Eyes, he growled, the nickname dripping with venom. Mind your own fucking business. Pinky held up her hands in mock surrender, but the teasing glint never left her eyes. Whatever you say, Blasty. I'm just calling it like I see it. You stared down at the table, your face burning with embarrassment. This was mortifying. Not only had Pinky openly called out the tension between you and Bakugo, but now his friends were witnessing your humiliation firsthand. A heavy silence fell over the table, broken only by the sounds of the crowded bar around you. Great, so much for things not being awkward. You took another sip of your drink. You risked a glance at Red Riot, who was watching, surveying. Bakugo. Red Riot cleared his throat, breaking the uncomfortable silence. Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't we play some darts? Loser buys the next round of drinks. He had to be shitting you. Play darts against pro heroes? That seemed like the perfect recipe for humiliation. That's not exactly fair, you protested. You guys are pro heroes. You'd wipe the floor with me. Pinky waved her hand dismissively. Ah, come on. We're all buzzed, so it evens the playing field. Yeah, right. Even if you were drunk and blindfolded, you'd still beat me. I have the hand-eye coordination of a drunken toddler. I'm not playing, Bakugo growled beside you, glaring daggers at Pinky. His arm, you noted, was still there. Pinky waved her hand and smiled at him. Afraid you'll lose, Blasty? You felt Bakugo tense beside you, his fingers digging into the leather of the booth. We could do teams, Pinky suggested, her grin widening, clearly ignoring the number 2 hero. That way it's more fair. Unless you're scared, Bakugo? A puff of smoke caught your eye, the space filling with a smell your brain categorized as his. His jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. You knew what was coming before he even opened his mouth. Fuck you, Raccoon Eyes, he snarled. We're on. How predictable. You were about to call it a night before you made a total ass of yourself when Bakugo's hand closed around yours, yanking you out of the booth. Your heart leapt into your throat, his palm rough and warm against yours. He dragged you towards the dart area, his grip tight but not painful. Wait, don't I get a say in this? You asked, stumbling slightly as you tried to keep up with his long strides. Bakugo glanced back at you, his crimson eyes blazing. What, you gonna chicken out on me now, nerd? As if. I just hope you're prepared to lose spectacularly. His lips curled into a smirk that made your stomach flutter. Please. With me on your team, there's no way we're losing. Oh, so now we're a team, you shot back. I thought I wasn't your friend. Bakugo's grip on your hand tightened. Shut up. We're gonna crush those idiots, and then you're buying me a drink. Pretty sure that's not how this works. As you approached the dartboard, you noticed Pinky and Red Riot trailing behind, their heads bent close together as they whispered. You strained to hear what they were saying. You knew you shouldn't, but you couldn't help it. Pinky said something, giggled, and Red Riot nodded, his eyes trailing in your direction. Bakuga noticed too because he whirled around, fixing his friends with a murderous glare. The fuck are you two gossiping about? Pinky's grin was positively feline. Oh, nothing. Just placing our bets on how this little game is going to end. There was something about the way she said it that made you bit your lip. Bakuga stepped behind you, his broad chest pressing against your back. You stopped for a second, your back fully colliding with him. Fuck off, Bakuga snarled at his friends. Are we playing or are you two going to gossip like a bunch of old hags? Red Riot held up his hands. Alright, let's just play. Mina and I against you two. First team to 301 wins. As Red Riot set up the game, you turned to face Bakuga. His eyes locked onto yours. You better not suck at this. Boy, was he in for a surprise. Gee, thanks for the vote of confidence. You're a real charmer, you know that? A ghost of a smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. Just don't embarrass me, nerd. Wouldn't dream of it. Red Riot handed you a set of darts, his friendly smile doing little to calm your nerves. Ladies first, he said, gesturing to the board. Asterisk. The dart slipped from your fingers, sailing through the air with all the grace of a drunken seagull. It thudded into the wall a good 2 feet from the board, joining its sad companions in a cluster that looked more like modern art than a game of darts. Fucking shit, Bakuga groaned beside you. Are you trying to miss? I told you I was bad at this. Pinky's laughter rang out, clear and melodic. Oh honey, bad doesn't even begin to cover it. I've seen blind people throw better than that. You crossed your arms, glaring at the pink-haired hero. Yeah, well, not all of us can have superhuman hand-eye coordination. Forget hand-eye coordination, Bakuga snorted. Do you even have eyes? Ha, you deadpanned, fighting the urge to stick your tongue out at him. You're hilarious. Red Riot stepped forward, a soft smile on his face. Hey, don't sweat it. Everyone's got to start somewhere, right? You offered him a weak smile. He was really nice, which made your mortification even worse. Thanks, but I think somewhere implies there's room for improvement. I'm pretty sure I'm at rock bottom. Nah, you've got potential, Red Riot insisted. Here, let me show you the proper technique. He moved behind you, his large frame dwarfing yours. Jesus, he was big, much larger than Bakuga, and up close he seemed like a mountain. You tensed. He was right behind you, one small exhale, and you'd be touching him. You'd be touching Red Riot, the unbreakable hero. Okay, so you want to hold the dart like this, he began, his hand reaching for yours. No freaking way. Was Red Riot about to touch you? You couldn't wait to tell Mai that her favorite hero actually touched you. But he never made contact. In a blur of motion, Bakuga inserted himself between you and Red Riot, his back pressed against your chest. Back off, shitty hair, Bakuga growled. I've got this. You stared, confused as Bakuga turned to face you, his crimson eyes blazing with an intensity that made your knees weak. Oi, nerd, he said, his voice low and gruff. Pay attention. I'm only going to show you this once. You nodded. You had no words, and even if you did, you were sure you would just mumble incoherent nonsense, if anything at all. Bakuga's hand closed around yours, his calloused fingers positioning the dart in your grip. His touch was warm and hard, just like him, and you wanted more. You're gripping it too tight, he muttered. Loosen up a bit. You tried to relax your fingers, but you couldn't, not when he was practically hugging you. He shifted, moving to stand behind you, his chest pressed more firmly against your back. Your heart hammered in your chest. Now, he rasped, his breath hot against your ear. When you throw, it's all in the wrist. Like this. He guided your arm through the motion, his muscles flexing against you. You swallowed hard, trying to concentrate on the lesson, and not on how perfectly you fit against him. He could have been teaching you the colors for all you knew, because heavens know you weren't registering a single thing. Got it? He asked, his voice rougher than usual. No, not really. But you nodded anyways. You let the dart fly. It sailed through the air, not quite as gracefully as you'd hoped, but at least it hit the board this time. A small victory, but you couldn't bring yourself to care. All you could focus on was the solid warmth of Bakuga's chest still pressed against your back, his arms still loosely wrapped around you. You waited for him to step away. He didn't. Better, he grunted, his breath hot against your ear. Still shit, but better. You swallowed hard. Thanks for the glowing praise. You managed to squeak out, your voice embarrassingly breathy. A low chuckle rumbled through his chest, vibrating against your back. Don't get cocky, nerd. You've still got a long way to go. You turned your head slightly, intending to fire back a snarky retort, but the words died on your lips when you realized how close his face was to yours. His crimson eyes held yours captive. You swallowed, your pulse pounding a frantic rhythm against your ribs. Almost involuntarily, you let your back rest slightly against the solid wall of his chest, half expecting him to pull away. He didn't. The heat radiating from him seeped into your skin, igniting a fire that licked at core. You swallowed again, your gaze still locked with his. The world narrowed, the boisterous clamor of the bar fading into a dull hum as your focus zeroed in on the man holding you captive with his stare. A pointed cough broke the moment. You jerked your head forward, cheeks burning as you remembered you weren't alone. Pinky and Red Riot were watching you, identical grins plastered across their faces. Well, well, Pinky drawled, grinning from ear to ear. Looks like someone's getting some hands-on instruction. You felt your cheeks get even warmer. Red Riot's gaze flicked between you and Bakugu. Yeah man, he said. I didn't know you were such a dedicated teacher. You waited for Bakugu to pull away, to bark out some angry retort at his friends. But he didn't move. If anything, his grip on you tightened slightly. Shut it, losers, he growled. Pinky sauntered forward, twirling a dart between her fingers. All right, my turn to show you how it's done, she announced, winking at you. As she lined up her shot, she glanced over her shoulder with a sly grin. You too sure this isn't a date? 'Cause from where I'm standing, it sure looks like one. It wasn't right. He hadn't said anything earlier, hadn't corrected you. He did remind you that this was just business. Yet, the way he almost was holding you sent a different signal. You held your tongue waiting for Bakugu to say it wasn't a date, to remind you again that you were the only one that thought this was a date. Bakugu didn't answer Pinky's question. You held your breath, waiting for him to say something, anything. He didn't. He turned back to the dartboard. Oi, shitty hair. Bakugu's finally spoke up. You're up next. Try not to embarrass yourself. Red Riot stepped up, threw his dart, and it landed squarely in the triple 20. Pinky threw her arms around him, squealing with delight. She caught Bakugu's eye and gave him a thumbs up, her grin smug. You flushed. Bakugu leaned in, his breath warm against your ear. So nerd, he purred. Finally seeing this as a date, or are you still on that bullshit about this being strictly business? You nodded, unable to speak past the sudden lump in your throat. His hand tightened around yours. Be a good girl and use your words, sweetheart, he whispered, his lips brushing against your earlobe. You bit your lip, pressing your legs together, the friction doing little to quell the pressure building between your thighs. Yes, you managed to squeak out. We're on a date. His hands gripped your hips, fingers digging into the soft flesh above your hip bones. He pulled you back against him, his dick pressing into your ass. You gasped, arching your back involuntarily. His breath hitched hot against your ear. Fucking finally.